I had more stuff to talk about, but I got ADHD thing. You know what? Fine. Fuck it. We're going to do a whiteboard. I'm going to do a historical whiteboard like this. You know what? Here we go. Let's do it. All right. You ready? We're going to do this. Okay. Recently, we have talked about a lot of different things regarding retail traders. And remember how I did that whole chart about Open Door when we got in at like $1.30 and it got all the way up to like $7 and we sold, and then it kept going, and somebody asked me about it and I said, well, $10 is probably going to be where it tops out. I don't know about anything else. $82 seems like it's kind of crazy, but retail traders don't tend to stick around that long. And why is that? Why is it that retail traders tend to not stick around after a while? Well, they get weak hands, they get spread out and stuff like that, but they also cannibalize each other. Okay? They cannibalize each other. And people don't realize it, that when a group of people get together and move a stock, you are usually the exit liquidity. And if you're not, you're going to end up being at a point where the only liquidity is you guys holding out for longer. And at some point, you're going to cannibalize each other. And that has happened in history. We're not going to do a historical whiteboard on cannibalism, but I'm going to talk about a time when a bunch of different people got together, and because of miscommunication, they ended up really effing themselves, right? So I'm going to tell y'all about this. Okay, this is one of my favorite stories from history when it comes to just a comedy of errors. Okay, I am going to take you guys back to, not this far back, but I'm going to take you guys back to, and because it is September, I feel like it's the perfect time to do this. Exactly. 200 and about 250 years ago. I'm going to take y'all back to 1788, okay? And I'm going to take y'all to Romania, okay? Anybody want to go to Romania? Anybody want to go back to Romania, 1788? Yes, I'm going to take you back to Romania in 1788. I'm about to tell you about a time where Schnapps ruined a bunch of lives. And no, I'm not talking about you in college, okay? I'm going to tell you about a time that Schnapps ruined a lot of lives and changed the tide of history. Oh, you didn't think Stocky was going to bring this one. That's right. This is a story about how Schnapps changed history. That's right. Schnapps changed history. Let's go back to Romania, 1788. I'm going to take y'all to a little place, okay? At this time, the Austrians, okay? The Austrians were fighting the Ottomans. Okay, modern day Turkey, follow the Eastern Roman Empire, the Muslim groups that took over, became the Ottoman Empire, the whole 9 yards. The Austrians were fighting the Ottomans, okay? And the Austrians had a massive army, and they were going east. They were going to go take on the Ottoman Empire. They were going to go straight to the heart of the Ottoman Empire and fight them. And so they had a massive army there, and they had amassed another army. And they had an army of about 100,000 men, right? The Austrians had 100,000 men. Now, they weren't all Austrians. It was a big mixed bag of people. Now, somebody's going to say, it was the Austro-Hungarian War. Okay, chill, bro. This specific battle is the Austrians, okay? There were more people involved. I'm going to get up this one thing. The one guy in chat trying to move his shit. It's okay. Chill for a second. So the Austrian army has 100,000 men, and they're going to go meet up with more of the army to coalesce together to fight the Ottomans, okay? Now, this is historical and it's financial, because to keep a 100,000-man army, standing army traveling, is very expensive, very time consuming, lots of food, logistics, the whole 9 yards, right? And so they're making their way that way, and they get to Romania. And they decide that they are going to stop and engage the approaching Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire has an army trying to stop them from meeting up with the rest of the army, right? Got to cut them off and fight them before it becomes a larger army. So they know that that's going to happen. It's inevitable. This other army is a little bit quicker, whatever. Let's just do this. So they set up camp, and they go to it's a place that is near the Timis River, not the Thames, the Timis River, and it's called Karansebes. I think I spelled Karansebes right. Or is it S-E-B-E? Oh, no, it's S-E-B-E-S. Karansebes. Karansebes. There you go. Karansebes. All right. So they go to Karansebes, and they decide this is where we are going to make our stand. We're going to engage the Ottomans here. They're catching up to us, and we're going to fight them. Now, they got 100,000 men from a big makeup. They've got mercenaries from this country and that country. Everybody speaking different languages and stuff like that. But they kind of got, some interpreters, and they're able to basically here, listen, we're all together. We're fighting the guys with the big things on their heads, right? So that's the idea. Now, everything is going good. They're camping out. Everything's fine. Ottoman Empire's on the way. They're hanging out. Well, the cavalry, the Austrian cavalry, This is a horse, okay, for those who don't know. Okay, it's a really fucked up horse, but I don't have time to... The cavalry decides to do some patrols, right? They want to make sure that the perimeter is safe. You got 100,000 people. You got artillery. You got everything, right? So they're going to do some patrols. So they do some patrols, and they go over... Remember that river I was telling you about? They start going over the Timis River. They start going to make sure everything's fine. And they run into some motherfucking gypsies. Okay, some goddamn Romanian gypsies. Now, I'm not saying that in like a bad way. Like, I know there's a lot of problems with you know, a lot of beef between the Romanians and the gypsies, but they run into some traveling gypsies, and they decide to make a little deal with them. A little strong arming happened, but they traded them, and they said, hey, if you want to keep traveling, you got to give us some of your what? Your schnapps. That's right. They got schnapps from gypsies. The Austrians got schnapps from gypsies. And they take it back to the camp, and they decide they are going to enjoy their schnapps, right? Night before a battle, they're going to enjoy their schnapps. And so these cavalry guys are you know, they're enjoying themselves. I know there's a C here. You guys are going to get pissed off, my fucking people that get mad. They're enjoying their night. Well, here's a problem. Some infantry guys are doing their patrols, and they stumble upon the cavalry guys who are camping out a little bit from the main army. They don't want anybody seeing them drinking, right? And they decide, hey, asshole, I want some schnapps too. I'm going to go into battle tomorrow. I want to get fucked up. And the cavalry guys say no. And the infantry guys say, yeah, or we're gonna report you and all this other shit. So they get a little bit of a struggle. Well, someone decides to fire off a shot. Someone decides to fire off a shot. And I don't mean a shot of schnapps. I mean from a gun. Cavalry guys are there, and we got us a little problem. Now remember, everyone is sleeping, but everyone's also... A lot of people aren't sleeping. A lot of people are on edge. We got a massive battle tomorrow. Massive battle. Battle, not bottle. Bottle, plenty of bottles of schnapps. Well, guess what? Remember how I told you there's a whole bunch of different peoples in different languages? Well, somebody shouted out, the Turks are here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, shit just got real. Artillery units, hearing this, started opening fire from the direction that the gunfire was coming from. Can't see shit. It's middle of the night. Bunch of people. You heard a gunshot. Now, all of a sudden, they're bombarding their own guys. Well, other segments started running into the woods because they're like, oh shit, I don't know what's going on. Now you got different segments of people wearing different outfits because they didn't have, remember, they were a bunch of different countries and stuff like that running around, and nobody spoke the same language. So they're running out into that. Then all of a sudden, someone had the bright idea from a different nationality. I forgot if they were Hungarian or they were from some other things, Romania, whatever. They decided to yell out, halt, halt, halt. But they had an accent. And it sounded like, halt, halt, which everyone took to say, or misheard as, Allah. Well, guess what? Now we really think the Turks are here. The Ottomans are definitely here. So now you have people actually firing on them, and then those people don't know who's firing on them. So now they think it's each other fighting. People are running everywhere. Different language are speaking. Someone trying to yell, halt, 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 and it sounds like Allah, 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 and they think it's now definitely the Turks. And so now we've got bayonet charges. We've got people firing. We got everything going on. This is absolutely insane. Then all of a sudden, everyone just retreats. We don't know what's going on. It's the middle of the night. The Turks are here. It's over. They all abandon it. The next day, guess who shows up? The Ottomans show up to fight, but ain't nobody there. But what is there is upwards of 10,000 wounded and dead soldiers, and every single piece of artillery, supplies, logistics, maps, and intel. Some people think that it was overestimated, but they say upwards of 10,000 people were killed or wounded. Now, a lot of people think that was overdone, but there were a lot. A lot of people were captured, lots of free stuff, and yeah, we call it a self-inflicted defeat. What did we learn from this? Absolutely fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing. Except never trust a gypsy with schnapps. Or never take schnapps from a gypsy. I don't know. But I just thought that was a cool piece of history, and since I was wearing this, I figured I'd work it out. How much of this did you make up? I didn't make any of this up. I mean, I'm obviously, making it fun for the thing, but no, this is a real story. It's actually a very famous thing. If there's a Romanian out there, I'm sure they've learned about it. Karansebes was actually a very famous war. Austrian army mixed up with the Austro-Hungarian war against the Ottomans. The Austrian army was going to link up. They had a very mixed bags. They stopped there. The accounts are that that the patrols actually went and met these gypsies, the merchants, and got schnapps from them, and then ended up getting into an argument with the infantrymen. A shot was fired. Then all of a sudden, people thought it was the Turks getting there early. It ended up leading to mass confusion, which ended up leading to languages being spoke. People didn't know if that was the Turkish language or a different language. Opening fire, more people opened up fire, and then there's whatever, and then they ended up fleeing the scene, and the Ottomans showed up a day or two later. Lots of dead and wounded people, and all this free shit. It's a true story. Remember, I do all this shit based off of memory. So for those of you guys in chat who are like, actually, Stocky, you missed out on this part. Bitch, you had to go to a fucking thing to do it. I'm doing this off a goddamn old memory, man, okay? And sometimes I mix some things up, but for the most part, it's true. Also, I'm better at storytelling, okay? Battle of Karansebes. It was September. Okay, I was wrong. Okay. First L. I was wrong by 2 days. It did not happen on September 23rd. It was September 21st to 22nd. Austro-Turkish War. Okay, I was correct about that. Scouting for forces, fired on one another by mistake, causing self-inflicted. Okay. Listen, I could be a bit wrong about this stuff. Let me check. 100,000 strong. The vanguard crossed the Timmins River. Okay, I was right about that. Infantry crossed the river. They saw the party going on. The infantrymen had been alcohol for themselves. They refused to give it to them. Still drunk, set up makeshift fortifications around the barrels. Oh, that would have been a great thing to add, that they actually set up a fucking barrier. They actually put barricades around the goddamn booze. Then they got an argument. They fired a shot. Someone yelled at Turks, Turks. Okay, we already said that. Austrians, Romanians, Serbs, Croatians, Italians, and Lombardy shouted halt, halt, which was misheard by someone with no knowledge of German as Allah, Allah. So they said it in German, and they heard it. That guy in here like, yeah, you're wrong. They said this. Okay, I said halt, halt, and because they didn't know the fucking accents or whatever the fucking the language, they misheard it as Allah. God, everybody in here is like so pissed off. You didn't get it right. It wasn't that they misheard the accent. It was actually a different language. You know what I meant, dipshit. As they fled, the corps commander thought there was cavalry charge, Ottoman army, and ordered artillery fire. Everyone woke up to the battle. They saw it was demoralized the Holy Roman Emperor to the point that he ordered army withdrawal. 2 days later, the Ottomans arrived, discovered dead and wounded soldiers, and easily took Karansebes. Eat a dick, bitch. Let me tell you something. For doing that shit off of memory, I was pretty goddamn accurate.